Hello Drama Llamas! Today we're going to be talking about set and set design. Let's get started, shall we? We're going to first talk about the 5 major types of stages, because you got to know the stage type before you build anything on it. Number 1 is the proscenium theater. Prosceniums are the most common type of theater. It looks, when you sit down and look at it from the audience, you're going to look like you're looking at like a picture frame or like a television. It has a fourth wall that we are watching through. It's the same type of style as most auditoriums in theaters. Where I work, ours is the proscenium style. Here is a picture of an example of a really nice proscenium theater style. This archway that creates that like picture frame look is called a proscenium arch, which is usually made out of like the structure, the architecture, or it can be made out of curtains. Our next type of stage is a thrust stage. The thrust has the audience on 3 sides. The main advantage to the thrust stage is that more audience can be closer to the actor. And you also don't require that much set, because if you have a tall set, you can't see what's going on the other side of the stage because it's blocked. You are going to be now breaking that fourth wall no matter what, because you are now in between the audience. Here's an example of a thrust stage. You'll notice that we have the audience on 3 sides, and that the back of the stage, there's not a lot upstage where you have set or scenery can be available. The next type of stage we have is an arena stage. Arena, or in the round, should look sort of familiar if you're used to going to sporting events where you are all around the court or the field, etc. The audience is again on all 4 sides, and you're basically breaking the fourth wall because there are no walls. You're going to be closer to the audience than you were in any of the other stages. This is also going to be less set and scenery. Here's an example of an arena. You see the audience all around the center playing space. The next one is a black box. So you're looking at this picture and it looks just like a blank box, because that's what a black box is. A black box is a blank space. It is there for you to add and do whatever you want with it. This space can be any type of stage, or any kind of stage configuration that isn't normal. It is literally a black box. Like the wall, the ceiling, everything is black. Black boxes are known for experimental spaces. Lots of college theater campuses will have a proscenium and a black box stage. It's much smaller and more intimate, meaning you can be a lot closer to the audience when you're performing. Here is a literal black box. The only thing that is not black is obviously the fire doors, which is safety. And lastly is found spaces. So there's your traditional types of stages 1 through 4. 5 means you can do theater anywhere. All you need is a little bit of space and your audience. Parts of the proscenium stage. The reason why we're reviewing proscenium stage as opposed to the others is that it's the most common type of stage. The first thing we're going to learn about are the wings. Now, off to the side, you're going to see 2 pictures. One is from above, like you've seen before, and then the other is sitting like from the audience looking in. We have the wings. The wings are the area that are part of the stage deck, which is the floor, but off stage, and is used for performance preparing, storing set, and as a stagehand's work area. So as you can see, the 2 red circles, these would be the wings. You have 2, 1 on each side. And as you look, as the audience, you can see the edge of the curtains usually in the wings, but nothing else. Next, we have the apron. The apron is the area of the stage in front of the proscenium arch, which may be small or large. So if you look at the two pictures again off to the side, we have in the red circle the apron. It's that little part that's jutting out closer to the audience. This isn't like a thrust stage. The apron only goes like a couple feet away, and it's not like it's going into the audience. It's still in front of the audience. As you can see, the apron is closest to the audience. Then we have the proscenium arch, which I sort of discussed earlier. This is an arch framing the opening between the stage and the house where the audience sits. As you can see in the two red circles, the arch starts in one area and it goes up and around. When you look at it from the audience, it can be done with architecture, or in the case of the picture, we have the red curtain to make us our proscenium arch. Audience and house. Specifically, any area of the theater where the audience is seated is known as the house. So, wherever the audience sits, we call that the house. So, we've talked about stages, the different stage types, and the most common type. Now, when you're working on figuring out a set, you've got to learn how to do what is known as a ground plan. A ground plan is a drawing of the stage setting including the major furniture props as seen from above. This is an example here of a ground plan. Ground plans give us something really simple to look on as either director, actor, stage manager to really understand what the set is going to be, its footprint on the stage. Let me talk a little bit about unit set. So this is a very common type of set pieces. They're made up of several pieces or units which can be arranged to produce more than one setting. Unit sets are useful in plays that require many scene changes. So as you can see, this is a collection of unit set pieces. The gray stuff, sometimes we like to call it. In UIL one-act play that we have in Texas, we use the unit set to help create a lot of locations. Now we're going to talk about using the unit set and drawing a ground plan. So first in the unit set we have platforms. This is an example of a 4x8 platform. That means it is 4 feet by 8 feet. When you draw a ground plan, you are going to draw it either on paper, but you have to draw it to what is called scale. Scale meaning one box equals 1 foot. So if you look at the diagram that I have drawn here, ground plan, you're looking at it from above, or a bird's eye view. I have 8 squares by 4 squares. So that is a platform when you're drawing it on a ground plan. My examples are pictures using a piece of grid paper. I would highly suggest you use a grid paper until you get used to drawing anything to scale with a ruler. Next platform is a 4x4. So a 4x4 is 4 feet by 4 feet, as seen in the orange drawing. I've drawn it on top of the 4x4. I've drawn it on top of the 4x8 here. Again, it's 4 squares by 4 squares because we're drawing it in scale. So you can see that in a unit set, in a UIL one-act play unit set at least, there is ramps. You get 2 of them, and they have a slight angle, hence why they're called a ramp. They are when you look down from above, look like the 4x4 platform, but they go down at an angle. So we denote this by making a slight indication that it is ramped, as you can see in the red drawing. Now we're moving on to a 1x1 platform. Yeah, that's 1 foot by 1 foot. They look like 1 square, as you can see here. Now we're moving on to things called pylons. Pylons, as you can see in this picture of the stage, can be stacked on top of each other and arranged in different ways, and let's see how they look when you draw them. The first pylon is the 8-foot pylon. So in the picture, it is standing up, which you draw it a different way, because if you're looking straight down, it would look like a 1x1. Now, we're going to imagine that they lay it down on the ground. It would be 1 box by 8, as you can see here. Then we have our 6-foot, which would be that middle pylon. Again, this is a picture of it laying down. It would be 6 by 1. Then the 4-foot pylon, which is 4 by 1. All pylons, when they are standing up, will look like this pylon here that I'm circling with my mouse. You're looking at it from the top. You have to label these pylons if you're doing that. The next thing we're going to talk about are step units, as you can see here. First is the 4 by 2 foot step unit. So when you're drawing one of these units, you're going to draw it 4 by 2. But since it has 2 levels, you denote this by doing little dashes. The same kind of idea we take for the 2 by 2 step unit, except it's 2 squares by 2 squares and has a dash in the middle. Flats. Flats are our next one. This is a lot harder to draw in a ground plan because they are so thin. Usually they're about 1 to 2 inches in depth. So when you're looking up above them, they look kind of like lines. You can use flats to create walls. Alright, so the first flat we have is the bifold. Bi meaning 2, and it folds with 2 pieces. That's how you gotta remember bifold. So you're looking at the bifold and the drawing with the blue marker, the royal blue marker. You see how I haven't boxed it in? It's because it's not big enough for me to make it a box, because it's only an inch or so. So you can see that I've done 2 by 2 because they are about 2 feet by 2 feet. Then I have my trifold. Tri meaning 3 and fold. It folds 3 different places. So when you do the trifold, it's 3 feet in the middle, and then the 2 smaller sections are about 1.5 feet because they meet in the middle. So this is an example of a ground plan using the unit sets. Now they're all kind of stacked on top of each other. Let's look at more examples of a ground plan using the unit set. Alright, so I'm looking at this from above. As you can see, it's drawn in a ground plan to the right. So I've got my 2 by 2 step unit. I have a 4 by 4 platform. I have a 6-foot pylon. You see how the 6-foot pylon is standing up, so I don't draw it all out. 6 squares. And then I have my bifold. This is an example of ground plans. Ground plans can be simple and are very effective for you as a first step to designing your set. Alright guys, that has been a very quick introduction to set. I hope you learned something. Maybe go out and make up a ground plan for your imaginary set. Alright, I'll see you next time. Bye!